Today we will begin our adventure right here at this old Cooper Tires here in Gaffney, South Carolina, the town we will be visiting today. And look at these old gas pumps out here, nothing digital. I absolutely love it. This is so cool to find old gas pumps that's not digital, still out in the wild. But unfortunately, I don't know how long it's going to last because this place don't look like it's been open for quite some time. It's pretty boarded up, actually. Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch, Hiking, Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really pumped to be here in Gaffney to go check this town out. I've been wanting to come down here for quite some time, and today it's actually going to happen. So let's not waste no time. Let's go ahead and get into it right now. Thank you for hanging out with me. Really do appreciate it. Okay, so I was right over there at that Cooper Tire gas station, and I looked across the street and I noticed this Mayberry car here for sale at Unique Automotive. But they have something else that's pretty interesting. Look at that. B.A. Baracus. That's right out of the A-Team. That's the old A-Team van right here. Man, that is so freaking cool. All right, welcome to downtown Gaffney. And look at this cute little cabin right here. Now this cabin right here is kind of important to the community, I would say, because this cabin was owned by Michael Gaffney. And his name Gaffney, this is the namesake of the town. So Michael Gaffney was born in Grenard, Ireland, and immigrated to the United States in 1797. After a short period in New York, he set sail for Charleston, South Carolina. He departed Charleston for the upstate, arrived at Smith's Ford on the Broad River on December 17th of 1800. There he met and married Mary Polly Smith, daughter of John Smith. On July 21st, 1803, Gaffney purchased 805 acres of land from John McKee on January 20th, 1804 for $600. 600 bucks. Wouldn't you like to have land for 600 bucks? I mean, an acre. He bought 805 acres for 600 bucks. He then constructed his home, store, and trading post at the corner of present-day North Grenard Street, Baker Boulevard. This intersection was a Native American trail and a wagon road. So that is pretty cool. It became known as Gaffney's Crossroads, later Gaffney's Old Field, before it actually became Gaffney. So Michael and Polly's first child was born June 1st of 1804, most likely in this very log cabin. So I do see the front door open. So why don't you say we just walk over there and take a little peek inside and check out Michael Gaffney's home. This is pretty cool. I'm so excited that something is actually open while I'm here. It's very dark in here. Hopefully you can see a little bit. Right there is the bed. And my gosh, look through there. Look at that place. That is so cool. It's where they eat their dinner, supper, and breakfast. Right over there's a little fireplace, which I gotta say, I would definitely stoke the fire if I was them today because it is quite chilly here in the South. It's about 40 degrees today, so not very warm at all. So let's go ahead and we're gonna walk in this direction, go right up through the center of town and check out the town of Gaffney. I'm looking forward. Look right here, some murals. Hopefully we see some cool ghost signs today. That would be pretty rad. Now right here on the corner of Limestone Street and Meadow Street is this place. It's called the Gaffney Prayer Room. Very interesting looking building. This is where I seen that first mural, like a Revolutionary War type of a vibe. But it's kind of like an Art Deco style design on this place. The Gaffney Prayer Room. Pretty cool. Okay, I've always been a pretty big fan of old theaters. This here is called the Capri Theater. It's not very big. I'm gonna say this is probably a single screen or maybe a double screen at most. It's a pretty small place. They do have a plaque right here. Gaffney Historic District, Capri Theater. This 1908 structure opened as a meeting hall and served as Becker's Bakery from 1929 1936. In November 36, a stage and screen were added, becoming home to the Cherokee Theater, hosting musical talent that passed through Gaffney. In 1970, the facility became the Capri Theater. In 1982, the Hudson family purchased the business to honor the building's years of entertainment by once again serving as an event hall and venue to many, including hosting entertainment acts traveling through Gaffney, South Carolina. Huh, that's really interesting. A meeting hall, I wouldn't have thought that. And a bakery. You learn something new every day. This building that we're looking at is a place called Daniel's Flowers. And this is pretty cool. Shows you a little stuff going on during the Revolutionary War. Some big battles that happened here. Battle of Cowpens, which I've heard of that before. Right there's Gaffney. The Battle of Kings Mountain, which I learned a little bit about that when I was visiting Blacksburg, South Carolina. That kind of come up in their history. You can see up there, you can see the North Carolina and the South Carolina border, and it just kind of gives you a lay of the land of where some big time battles happen and things like that. So this is actually pretty cool. Pretty neat. Freedom was won here, it says. Now this right here is a really cool mural. Got this train, you got this Cherokee Indian, and then you have this Revolutionary War soldier. Speaking of the Revolutionary War, while Gaffney itself was settled later, the surrounding Cherokee County area was key during the Revolutionary War. Cowpens National Battlefield, just outside of Gaffney, was the site of a very crucial Patriot victory over the British in 1781, considered a turning point in the Southern campaign during the war. And also nearby Kings Mountain National Military Park also preserves a major battle site from 1780 that helped shift momentum in the favor of Patriot forces. So here's a little backstory of the Revolutionary War here in this area. So the main street here in Gaffney is called Limestone Street. And that brings me to a little educational fact. Limestone College here was founded in 1845 and is one of the oldest institutions of higher education in South Carolina and adds long-standing academic roots to the city. All right, I made my way up here to show you the railroad that passes through the downtown area here in Gaffney. The arrival of the Atlanta and Charlotte Airline Railway in the 1870s spurred the town's growth. Rail access made Gaffney a market hub for cotton, farm produce, and later peaches, and attracted more residents and businesses to the town. Man, I gotta say, this is another just beautiful mural. It says, "Get into Gaffney since 1804. That is so cool. And we were just talking about the railroad track showing up here in the area, really helped out, and it spoke of cotton. And if you notice right here, the reason I said it is because of this railroad track that's painted right here at the bottom of the mural. So from the late 1800s into much of the 20th century, textile mills dominated Gaffney's economy. Cotton milling and related manufacturing were central to local jobs and growth, with expansions during World War II, helping increase production and the population of the town. Look at this old mural right here, this Coca-Cola mural. That is really nice. Now I realize that's not original. That has been touched up at some point in time. It looks pretty good, but really cool, delicious. And all soda fountains. It's only 5 cents, so yeah, that's super old, super old. Don't know what that is. That right over here to the right of it, looks like that might be a Mountain Dew bottle over there or something. It says refreshing and healthful. Healthful. Yeah, there's no soda drinks going to be healthful. So that has nothing to do with that. So let's go ahead and keep on walking out here. checking the place out. Let's talk about population here in the town of Gaffney as we cruise along through the downtown area. Population is 12,733. You know, that's not a super small town, but it's the right healthy amount of people. And the median age is really healthy. It's 36.1. So that just means this is not a lot of older demographic people here. You do have some young folk coming up too, so that's really good for the town. Oh, and right here we might have an old hardware store. That looks pretty cool. So as we walk up here in this area, we're going to check out some of these buildings, but first I want to talk about demographics. So demographics here in town, let's look at race. 50.7% is white, 42.54% is black. It's pretty split. And then Asian is 0.11%, and American Indian is 0.2%. And then we have mixed race at 4.63% and other race at 1.83%. Okay, and welcome to R.M. Wilkins Hardware Company. Buggies and wagons is what they used to sell here. How cool is that? So this hardware store was a merchant that was active in the early 1900s here in Gaffney in the Blacksburg area here in Cherokee County, South Carolina. It appears in local newspaper advertisements around 1903, 1904, offering hardware goods such as screen doors, windows, barbed wire nails, wagons, and buggies. Typical stock for Southern rural hardware store of that era. And that is so cool that this place is preserved in some way. I absolutely love it. And right here is another location, W.J. Wilkins and Company. Dry goods, clothing, hats, shoes, groceries. A little bit of everything in this one, this store. The tradition continues. And right down there at the end is the entrance to that store. Antiques and vintage items. Wow, look at this old blue building right here. You think that was an old hotel at one time, possibly? That looks like it's got some really old age to it. Very interesting. So now I want to get into income a little bit. So income per capita here in Gaffney is $18,716, which is quite a bit below the South Carolina $25,521 average. National average at $29,829. So kind of see how it compares. The median household income, $31,355, which is well below the $46,898 for the state of South Carolina, and that's even lower than the national average of $55,322. So then when we scroll down a little bit further, poverty level is 28.2% here in Gaffney. That is, that's not super high. I've definitely seen higher, but that's still not very good. All right, so now let's talk about crime. Crime here in Gaffney is 4.4 per 1,000 people, or 4,404 per 100K, which is definitely quite a bit higher than the South Carolina's 2,403 or the national average of 2,119. Now, when we look at that in percentages, this is what we're looking at here. You got the total crime being a 108% above the national average. And then you have violent crimes, which is 37% below the national average, which is really great. And then the property crime is 137% above the national average. So as I stand across the street, I noticed this big red building right here. Looks like it has some importance to it. So this building was constructed in 1899, and it was a commercial hotel which opened its doors on July 1st of 1900. In 1929, the Mace Pennington opened a Majestic Cafe here. The cafe was renovated in 1947, installing the huge booths that the start and end of the row, which were called family booths, as they would hold 8 people. Mathis Brown purchased the building in 1961, and in 2019, Darren and Jada Mason become the 4th owners in this building's history, and it continues to operate as a commercial hotel to this very day. All right, I'm on my way back to my car now. This will kind of conclude our downtown area. There's one more thing that I have to show before I leave Gaffney. It's a bit of a showstopper, something really tall and really big, so let's go check that out. Okay, so I made my way over here right off of Interstate 85. And look at this old abandoned Fats Cafe right here. Private property, no trespassing, do not enter. Somebody's entered because the front door is wide open. But that is not why we're here today. I'm here to show you something much cooler than an abandoned restaurant or cafe. This, right next to it, is a big peach. Look at the size of that peach. Is that not cool? That is actually a water tower. Gaffney's most famous landmark is this 135-foot tall water tower shaped like a giant peach. It holds 1 million gallons of water and is visible for miles from Interstate 85, which is right here behind us. Locals and travelers alike know it as the Peach, or even some people call it Mr. Peach. All right, so I was able to enter the fence. The door, the gate was actually unlocked. It says it closes at 5 p.m. But this is it. This here is the peach, and I gotta say, I love the detail on the peach itself. Even the leaf up there just kind of draped over the top of the peach, hanging down on the side a little bit. It's really cool. You can see the bottom of the peach right there kind of protruding out. That is so awesome. So little did I know that Gaffney was considered the peach capital of South Carolina. The region around Gaffney became known as the peach capital of South Carolina thanks to its abundant peach orchards and harvest. Celebrated annually at the South Carolina Peach Festival every July. And that thing is monstrous. Anytime I think of peach, I always think of Georgia. Never really thought about South Carolina, but hey, I will now. That's for sure. This will forever be a memory that you will not forget when you stand below 135-foot tall peach. That is just crazy. That is so cool. All right, my friends, I think that is going to pretty much wrap it up for me today. I had a great visit to Gaffney, South Carolina. A lot of fun. Learned a little bit about town. Never been to the downtown area before, but maybe a month or so, right before Christmas, I drove kind of in and around Gaffney. I was actually driving toward a place called Union, South Carolina. I did a vlog down there, and it just made me think, like, one of these days I'm going to come back and check Gaffney out too. And had a great day. Learned a little bit about town. Did not know it was the peach capital of South Carolina, but now I do know, and now you know if you didn't know. So it was a lot of fun. Last time I was in this area was several years ago, because I did a video in the beginnings, the early days of the Hitchhiking Yeti channel. I actually showed a graveyard. I don't know how many miles it is, just past Gaffney, driving toward like Spartanburg and Greenville. You don't have to go that far. It's probably just several miles down the interstate here, but there was a graveyard that I found out was in the median of the interstate. And my crazy self parked and waited for a gap, ran across, positioned myself into the median across the interstate in a wooded area. And sure enough, I got in there and there was like graves everywhere. And I was like, whoa, I said, man, this is crazy. How wild is this? You know, they just built the interstate around the cemetery. So that was several years ago. And I will try to put a link down in the description below if you would like to see that. I'm not doing that today. I will never do that again. That was crazy, because getting back across the interstate was not very easy. It was actually very difficult, because there was a lot of traffic and you just had to keep waiting until it finally cleared out enough where you could cross back, you know, make your way back across the interstate. So that is all for me. Thank you so much as always. Until next time, friends, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon, because today I had a peach. of a good time. It was a lot of fun here in Gaffney. A lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you around. It's time to go home. It's time to go home and get warm. Get warm. I don't care if I get warm on a couch or in a bed or what. I just want to get warm. Because it's been quite chilly willy today. Whoops, wrong way. Got to open that door like that and close it. And then we're going to put the latch down. Because at 5 o'clock, they'll be back here to lock that bad boy.